Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome to Dreamers Live, the podcast. We've been away for just a minute. Happy January to you.
Ooh, I'm so glad it's here.
I don't know that I've ever been more excited about January, but more about that in just a second.
Okay.
Hey, if you are a listener or a watcher or a viewer, consumer of this podcast, would you do us a favor? Would you take just a second now? There's a little share button and it'll copy links and do all that kind of stuff. Can you think of 2 or 3 people that would enjoy this podcast and send it like a late-breaking Christmas gift for us to them?
I don't know. Would they want to listen before they share? I mean, like, what if
Not necessarily. If you're listening now, you've probably heard a couple of these. You know how brilliant. You know how brilliant this is. Come on. So whether you're watching this or listening to this or both, take just a second to share this with some friends and help us to expand the community, the audience.
Yes, we would love that.
So meanwhile, back in January, let me just ask you, how was your holidays? Look at this, by the way.
Are you asking me? Oh, yeah.
We have cups.
Yes.
If you are of the viewing persuasion, you might notice we're in a little different setting than we have been in the past.
Changing it up.
And we have beverages and books and stuff. And
because it's January, these are not alcoholic. Not that they were before, but I mean, this is just good iced coffee right here.
No, we're into the dry-ish January, as the kids would say.
We're being so healthy. So much water, so many vegetables.
You know, it's difficult when you choose to live. I think that's the problem. And then you have to make decisions about how much you consume, either alcohol or food or other things.
Sugar, exactly. And how long you want to live. I mean, different things like that.
There are some of those moments where you think, is it worth it? Do I stop? I mean, I might live a little bit longer if I stopped.
Yeah. I've been eating so much celery.
I know.
I love celery. I know, it's exciting.
Beer and I have decided to see other people for a while.
Okay.
And we're going to see where that goes, and we'll see how much, if we want to get back together again later or not. It's going to be difficult. So today we're drinking iced coffee.
It's delicious.
And these are not props. These are actual iced coffees. I'm sharing my iced coffee to you.
Thank you for sharing that to me. It's so nice.
And as our daughter would say, share to you, share it to me, share it to me. And so anyway, we've made it into January after, as you would say, the longest year, the longest December.
Yes.
December was a long year. And
December was a long year.
And I can tell you, I mean, we are...
I just came from a meeting, and we're not the only ones who feel this way.
Oh, no, every person I meet. And I feel bad because, it's... And obviously, we're just out of the holidays. So people you see them, and you haven't seen them for a couple weeks. And so then it's everybody will ask you the same question. Well, how are your holidays and all that stuff? And they, I'll say that, how are your holidays? This, that, and then everybody does the pat answer. Oh, it was great. Had a great time. This is family and this, that, and that. And they'll say, how are your holidays? And then, because I'm trying to be honest,
should I lie?
I pause for a second, and I'm like, I don't really know how to respond to this because I want to be authentic in the response. I mean, I could just move on and say, oh, it was great, it was fine, like all holidays
that's always easier.
But,
that's like when people ask you how you are. Fine. And you're like,
but it was not all fine, and it was not all great, and it was a lot longer probably and more difficult in some ways than what we probably planned on. And that's from 2 people who, we're in our mid-30s now. So we're trained professionals when it comes to the holidays. We've had a couple.
Part of it for us is we do have to work. I mean, December is a big working month for us.
Yes.
So,
right.
Yeah. Well, but I think it is for a lot of people.
Sure.
But January's good. I'm thankful.
We have successfully put up all the Christmas decor at both the house and at the loft here at our lair. The Pioneer Dream Lair, which is where we're recording today. And so this is the center of the known universe. This is where all the magic happens. And so as of yesterday, pretty much all the decor is away.
Yeah, there's one room here at the loft that still has some stuff.
It's a bit of a staging area. It's like when they put a parade together. It's like it became the default room over the holidays.
I can't see any in my line of sight right now, which is
good. I love.
We'll finish it.
We were joking the other day. You love Christmas decor. I'm a bit more reserved.
True.
Which means that pretty much every space we have, including vehicles, have Christmas identifiers in them and on them.
They do.
Yeah. And so we're putting the Christmas stuff away, and we have different responsibilities, and I do a lot of the outside stuff, and then I come and help on the inside stuff. And so we have in our front yard, which we've had maybe 20 plus years now, a stand of wooden cutout peanut characters that somebody in Fort Worth, Texas did 1,000 years ago. They did them for us.
Yeah, you ordered them for us,
and,
like before there was the internet or something.
They're all about 3 or 4 feet tall, and they're significant and cute, and people have kind of gotten used to seeing them and all that kind of stuff. But they have faces, and we have emotional connection to them. So when I'm packing them, I feel a certain weirdness about it, because you're like saying goodbye to a friend, and they have faces, and then you're putting them in a box, which is a little bit like a coffin. And so then I'm thinking, okay, well, you're going to be here for 11 months. What do I do with this? And so I've gotten in the habit now of putting like characters together and then facing them to each other.
So, who did you pair up?
So I always
By the way, not everyone gets this weird about putting their Christmas decorations up. Like, we overthink it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'll go through and I'll say, like, with our daughter, this was a little tradition we started. She goes, Mom, I don't want to put the little Christmas tree in my room up. I was like, I know it's sad, but this helps me. I go through and I'm like, thank you, Hello Kitty decoration. You did such a great job, and I will see you next year. And I thank some of my favorite ones, and then we kind of lovingly wrap them up. So I don't know that everyone weirds it out like we do.
I'm not that weird, but I will face characters together. So we have a little scene there. We have a little scene there where it's Linus and Sally. They're kind of dressed for the Christmas play from the movie and all that kind of stuff. And so I put them in a box with the Charlie Brown Christmas tree, all 3 of them, and I face Sally and Linus together
so that they can chat.
Yeah,
the rest of the year?
and I do the same thing with Charlie Brown and Snoopy and the Snoopy house and all that kind of stuff. And then, but I am a little weird sometimes, because I think, what happens if you're putting people in a box together and secretly they hate each other? And now they're going to be 11 months together in the attic, and they really don't want to be with each other.
Like if Sally and Linus are maybe having too long of a holiday season.
Oh, there's some strife that breaks out. They get angry or something. That's a cold, cold box.
You definitely would not want to put Lucy and Schroeder. Schroeder, the piano player, really hates Lucy, so you don't want to put them together.
Right.
Well, that's good. Yeah, think about it.
Yeah, so we come from a long line of overthinkers, I think, is the issue on all that stuff. But
yes, but we got it done.
We did.
Soon enough, we'll be on to Valentine's Day, and it won't be a thought.
Oh, my gosh. I always long for the stretches with no decoration in the house, what I like to refer to as ordinary time.
Yeah, well, this is your favorite. So from here until about, I'd say February 1st, there's going to be
not that long,
That's
really.
like 5 weeks of no decorations. Aren't you excited?
Yeah, it's nice to have the house back.
Well, we do celebrate Groundhog Day, which is February the 2nd.
That's pretty low key on the decorating portion.
It's just like one small area. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
We kind of look at Groundhog Day as like a second New Year celebration.
It is really, it's like when you're really ready. Like in January, you're just recovering, I feel like. Getting everything packed up. You get back to the office, you're like, what the heck do we do for a living? I still haven't figured that out.
By that time that time in winter, you need a little spark. You need a little something.
That's what I love about it. Because it's usually bitterly cold. January is so long. You're only drinking iced coffee. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well, and for the last 2 or 3 Dreamers Live events that we've done, we've built them around Groundhog Day as our kind of comeback for the new year. And we have kind of done it up so everybody does top hats and furs and fake furs and all kinds of jewels, and they kind of really dress it up a little bit like the Punxsutawney Phil kind of thing.
Yes, Punxsutawney Phil. Well, we try not to necessarily be like, we're going to do an annual such and such, because sometimes you just get to the point you're like, I don't want to do annual anymore. But somehow the Groundhog Party has become an annual event. Yes. Which is kind of weird and funny.
Yeah. Well, and it's been funny because the last 2 or 3 times we've had a lot of new people show up to Dreamers events. And so here they've come in, maybe it's taken them 6 months or a year to figure out, yes, I'm going to try and come to a Dreamers Live event. I'm going to summon up the courage to go to something I don't know what it really is.
Right.
And they show up and it's people in top hats and fur coats celebrating a rodent. And you're like, okay, well, this is this.
Come on, it's called Dreamers. We're supposed to be fun.
I guess,
We're supposed to live a little.
Yeah. Well, you and I have a tradition, speaking of packing, where once we kind of get everything packed up decor-wise, you and I try and get to some place, sometimes when it's not dry January, but sometimes when it's coffee only, and we try and unpack our holiday season.
Oh, yeah.
We make a list, and we make what we like to call a low five list.
Low five list,
So it's the, there's so often we go through Christmas seasons, and repeatedly there are things about the holidays that you do not love.
Yeah, that you have to do.
And yet, unless you're intentional, you're just destined to continue repeating that exercise. So we had a really hard Christmas probably about, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And we came back exhausted. You couldn't see various floors in different rooms because they were covered in Christmas stuff still. And it was really overwhelming. And we said, let's make a list that we can look at next year before the holiday season starts that says, don't do these things again. There's a low five list.
You have to look at it like about November 15th as you're heading in.
Yeah, but we did a couple things I think that were pretty smart in that list. One, we did it immediately after Christmas because if you get like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks in, you start to get over things, and your eye quits twitching, and you kind of your heart rate comes back down, and you think maybe it wasn't so bad after all.
You kind of have to have the debrief when you're still in
when it's still fresh.
You're still in the throes of packing. You're like, okay, what is it that we want to maybe try and adjust?
The other thing that we've done well, I think, in these kinds of lists is we list everything, even if they seem obvious or like they're things you can't do anything about.
Right.
Because just the act of making the list, I think, is helpful, and putting those things down and acknowledging this is something I really don't enjoy, or this is something that's really hard. But then sometimes you can be surprised and find out that what you thought was impossible or was not negotiable
can be
actually is. And if you put it out there, it's like, okay, well, let's see what that is, and let's see if we were going to do something to resolve that. What would it be? So we made a list of, we didn't really limit ourselves to 5, but I think 5's a good goal. The top 5 things you least enjoy about the holiday season
and the demands of it.
Right. And so we listed everything from the number of gifts we buy for other people, because sometimes that felt, you weren't buying things, you weren't seeing something and thinking, oh, Fred would love this, this is for him. You were literally checking things off the list, and they feel like it's being checked off the list, and you feel like it's being checked off the list. So the number of gifts we would give, the number of gifts we would receive, because we have a larger extended family,
and they love us, families,
and that's their love language, is to give things. But it would be overwhelming for us, especially when we in our first home, which was pretty small. So it would not take much to make it feel like, this is way too much.
Pretty crowded with stuff, sure.
We used to have a fun rule that is for our daughter that we told both your mom and my mom, which was, okay, I'm just letting you know, for everything you buy her, something else has to leave.
So we're still working on that. That's tough. That's tough for adults.
And then we listed, the number of days we were home. We listed that we wanted to wake up in our own beds on Christmas morning. And all kinds of things. And how many days we were going to travel during the holiday season and stuff like that. So, assuming that our friends and family are not listening to the podcast.
Well, first off, it's not. We have wonderful families. It's not anybody's fault. A lot of the wear and tear that we go through in December is how many events we have to host. Even some of the things that we want to do in the community. All of those things play into it. So it's not just family obligations. It's all of those things, and family obligations are part of that. In fact, I would like to be better for some of the family things by looking at what we evaluate this year. It's possible we did too many nice things. I mean,
it might be.
No, I'm not sure. I mean, I really struggle with that. That makes me sound amazing. I don't mean it like that, but
but there's a thought to that. There's a thing, I think, that if we want to be honest about some things, and it's difficult because we do feel the pressure to do nice things and to be kind
and all that
kind of stuff.
During the holidays,
and then once you start doing some of those things, it can be very difficult to stop. But I think that the alternative is at some point you are going to burn out.
Exactly.
So would you like to continue doing 5 or 6 things that are nice and
really
kind
effective.
and generous for a long period of time, or would you like to do 12 things and burn out after 3 years and you're just
stop doing
out?
anything and just move to Jamaica?
And that sounds nice.
That does sound nice.
I think the other part of it that, I think the thing that we felt this year, which was kind of a bonus prize in anxiety, which was that, there's this whole thing about Christmas comes but once a year, so it feels very fleeting.
It does.
And so
that's why everyone tries to. That's it. Everyone tries to wedge so many things in. I think because it does. The season can have a lot of beauty and joy and excitement to it, and people's hearts tend to be more open and more generous, and so you think, well, let's not capitalize, that's the wrong word on it, but let's maximize this feeling, and we'll do these good things, and we'll host this thing, and we'll do that, and we'll fundraise for this, and all those things are good, but then everybody has that look on their face.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just too much. I mean, I think and I really honestly, is this what we're talking about today on the podcast?
This is what we're doing, yeah.
Since you never tell me what we're talking about, I was like, we're really going off on this topic. So
you see me tugging my ear for you to move on?
If you need me to shorten it back, because we're talking about something else, but... no, at one point I was, and a lot of this I do to myself. I am an optimist to a fault, and you and I both are.
Yes.
But I especially am, and so I definitely, my whole entire life, I will take on too many things.
Yes.
And not even take them on, I will invent them.
Yeah.
And then create, and it was at some point had hardly been home at all. I don't think Evangeline could find her socks. I mean, it was like one of those.
There were a lot of sock conversations.
We had a lot of sock conversations.
Yeah. More than I think the average family. But
no,
anyway.
She could never find her socks.
There was a fight that broke out at one point about socks between us, which was like, I'm going through the laundry and trying to match socks up. And I was like, it's socks. It's just part of your daily.
What you said was, I almost left you, and you wanted me to go.
I wasn't. Yeah.
But yeah, we hadn't been home enough to even just tend to, I don't know, like washing the dishes and laundry. You're just not there at all, and so I end up, and it's not anyone's fault, but we all wear a lot of black.
Right.
And my daughter and I, our feet right now are exactly the same size. So we have like all these little black socks, and then you have socks, and they all kind of look the same because they're athletic socks. So they all look, and so
because we're trying to stay alive.
Yeah, we just had a tiny window. We were trying to just crank out some laundry. We were in the rush to the next thing we were in charge of. And then we did the laundry, and then I said, I want everybody to come in here and help me with these socks. You said,
I'm so sick of socks. I'm so sick of going through socks. I don't want socks anymore.
I said, I don't want to go through these socks. These are not all of my socks. And so then there's this huge sock pile. And they all look the same. They're just sitting on my bed. And then you said, really? Socks? It's kind of just a part of life. And I was like, well, you being single is kind of a part of life. And then I kind of walked out for a while. But anyway, it was maybe perhaps after the sock conversation that I got a quiet moment to collect myself.
There's a possibility it really wasn't about socks.
No. And the phrase came to my mind, it's just too much.
Yes, right.
And here's what's funny is like we're having this conversation, and I know we've already started our list, and I know we're going to talk further about it because it's actually on the calendar. We're making the list, kids.
We got so many lists.
I don't know what to do to fix it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think what you and I are looking for, and I think we will get there, we're looking for a filter that we can use to apply to the number of things we can do.
Algorithm.
And I think, the low 5 list is part of that, because I think once you create a low 5 list, you can begin to see a line, you can begin to see a trend in some of that, and say, oh, okay, I'm looking at these as individual things, but really if I kind of look across the board, there's a theme here, or there's a motif here, there's a thing that says, okay, well, here's the common denominator in all these things, so I'm going to quit doing as many of these and then look at that. So
yeah, for sure. And I think that's part of it is trying to evaluate. I think we need some sort of a test, and I'm sure we're not the only people because, like I said, I just came from a meeting, some sort of a formula, which is, I mean, I know for us, one of the things is when we have several nights in a row that are out of normal routine, where you're just like maybe home, you're having dinner, and you're just not at your home.
Well, that happened to us.
You've got a kid that's still in school, and you've still got to go to work, and you just can't keep it together.
We kind of live by eye count, so everything kind of goes on one communal eye count for you and I. For work and family and doctor's appointments, of which there are increasing numbers, and all those kinds of things. And so everything lives on eye count. And so we've kind of got in the habit, on Saturday or Sunday, or Monday morning, you kind of look at the week in advance and kind of get your mind around, so you're not surprised by something or whatever.
We do that. We get a glance real quick.
And so somewhere during the season, I looked at something and it was like, oh, well, we will not be home for the next 16 nights. For the next 16 nights, we will not be here.
Yeah. And we will be there
before
eventually.
whatever hour of the night.
Yeah, certainly not enough time to wash and fold socks. Yeah.
And I think 16 or 14 or whatever it was that's just too many.
Yeah.
And so you're just thinking, wow, that's
you're gonna.
So most things you can do, as we say, you can pretty much do anything that has a finish line. Anything that has I just got to get through Friday and then we'll get a break or whatever.
That's right.
But 14, 16, something like that, that is a long stretch where you just think, that starts to feel a little claustrophobic or
it does.
Panicky a little bit.
Well, I mean, I think as humans, like, I think we're...
And then you don't feel like... Still have to say that you feel like you're not going to be in a place where you're not going to be able to give your best self to somebody. Right.
Yeah,
because you'll
be
too worn down, too fatigued, and too frustrated.
Yeah. I mean, I think as humans, we're kind of designed to, like, be productive, to engage, and then to have certain amount of time where we can rest and recover. Mm-hmm. And when you don't
reset.
and reset. And when you don't, and that's different for different people in terms of their personality type and how much I need more of that than I used to.
Right.
I'm an extrovert, so I can take on a lot more people energy than you can.
Yes.
But yeah, that's it. When you don't, I mean, I think that maybe have to be part of our role. And for this will apply to us in life as well. There's only so many nights before we're going to have a reset of just normalcy, you know?
Right.
And we may have to just be, it's hard to say no. And we definitely, like, I hate the little phrases that come out, but there was one I related to, the FOMO, which is the fear of missing out.
Yes.
And the challenge is that's at a maximum during the holidays because there is this joy and there is this love and there's this energy that's fun. And so you don't want to miss out on this party and you don't want to miss out on this event and you don't want to miss out on giving here.
Right.
So the truth is we're living in a world with unlimited amount of information, opportunities, things to do.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of a fear that you're not going to get in on all of the joy, you know?
I think another new thing for us this year, because we're a close family. I mean, lots of people are, and you don't have to spend the kind of time together that we do to be a close family. We just happen to, and so. But this was new for us. Like Evangeline, our daughter, 13, she's in 7th grade. She had about a month and a half off for Christmas this year, and
so long.
Oh my gosh, and so talk about a reset.
Yeah,
there were moments there where I thought we've been together too much.
Yeah,
because you're not getting the school respite, you're not getting the rehearsal respite, you're not getting all the other things that we typically do that make you want to come back and see each other again.
Yeah,
and so there were times, especially after Christmas, where you just go outside to take the decorations down, and you might be out there 5 hours, and maybe
you were out there a really long time, and
maybe it's only 2 hours of work, but you're like, it's okay for us to be,
because we do need those designs.
And I noticed that Evangeline, who most of her life has needed to be in the same room you're in,
she's very social.
Suddenly now, there's a lot more room time. Like she can go upstairs and. She's obsessed right now with
doing the gel nails. She's like a fingernail artist, and so she's always creating these little
right. And so
which
anyway,
is great, except for it smells really bad.
Were all. I just noticed that there really wasn't the normal reset for us as a family to be away from each other, where you can come back and so we were on top of each other quite a bit.
What is it you say? I can't miss you if you never leave.
That's right. Exactly right.
Let's try. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Let's try that. And we're certainly not perfect, but we're pretty compatible. We have to work together. But even that's too much. It was like, I just need to not see you, and you needed to not see me.
Right.
I think part of the thing about routine that is needed and is important, and which is why we all breathe a sigh of relief in January, is that our regular schedule, if we're trying to be intentional as humans, has those sort of breaks built into it. Like we go to the gym and we work out, or we go see a friend for coffee, and we have our own, we're family, but we have our own things and our own little, like it seems silly, and anybody that has kids or even just a kid knows this, but I mean, to me, just the drive from the house to the gym, it's only like 11 minutes.
Right.
But when I have someone up in my business during that, trying to borrow my phone and mess with my music and sign a lot, like after I've been with them all day, I'm going to injure them. No, I'm not. Yeah. But anyway, that's the thing. So we all need those little, those hideaways. Self-care is like a big term. To me, that's a lot of it is just human away time where you can hear your own thoughts,
Well, again, just believing that maybe our friends and family aren't listening to this, if you were going to mention one or two things that are on your list for this year on your low five, give us an example of what might be on your list this year.
On my low five? Well, honestly, I felt like all of our family gatherings were really good. And I feel like that's some of the things that all of us, as we've gotten older, have kind of been respectful with each other in terms of the amount of demand on time with each other. And so I felt like we had a great time with your family. We had a really great time with my family. All that was good. I think I took on too many things. I would say too many things that I was in charge of that had little details to them. So I am
lots of coordination, lots of
I
planning.
had to deal with a lot of details, but details are not my favorite.
Right.
I mean, my favorite is being around people and gathering and having ideas. And so then I remember, I can say this. One of the things I took on at our daughter's school, which was a live and learn situation, was I'm on the parent support group and I help out with hospitality. So we do fun stuff for holidays. Well, that's my jam, is making people feel special on holidays. Well, they needed a little fundraiser because the budget was short. And it was like candygrams for the kids. And no one was volunteering.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm at the school a lot anyway, and we do some substitute teaching. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do the candygrams. That's fine. Wow. That is not a good thing for me.
That was maximum effort, minimal return.
It was like the kids had a good time, but it was like a lot of counting money and putting sticky notes on things and delivering to classes. And about 4 days into it, after I was already...
break it up by class and the number of kids. Oh my gosh,
I thought, this is a terrible job for me.
Yeah.
But it's kind of live and learn. I'm old. I should know that that's not a good use of my skill.
Right.
But anyway, for me, it was a lot of stuff like that. And then we have some things that we traditionally do through Dreamers that I care about, but they are real detailed.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, I just think my brain's going to explode. What was on your low five?
I do feel like the obligations, there were probably too many obligations, and like you said, and some of those are easier obligations than others. Sometimes the families, still like in our local family or whatever, or a local friend group, you feel compelled to do some of those things maybe more frequently than you should, and then you realize you don't have anything else to give in that. Like if you're doing 2 or 3 of those in a week, and you've already crossed over some of that stuff, you don't feel like you have as much to give. Like if you did 2. If
you're in charge of something, you have to speak somewhere, you've already
and
kind of given out your energy.
Yeah, and so you're not really having quality experiences with your family or your friends and some of those, because you're doing too many things. It's too much frequency. Yeah. And I also felt like one of the things I discovered this year that I kind of missed was I enjoyed a lot of the smaller gatherings that we did, as opposed to some of the big stuff. And like you and I were saying, we have this little house decor and all that kind of stuff that's fun, and we did have people to the house a lot, but it was still, some of it was big and or repetitive or whatever, too many of the same people. And then I thought, it would be nice if you could just have somebody over for cocktails for an hour. Yeah. And just see them and sit in the room and enjoy what's there and not feel like you got to plan food.
To everybody.
And when it gets to be more than like 4 people, or it just ends up then you have to manage stuff. Then you have to get things. Then you have to when it's just 4 people or so, then everybody can get their own beverages. Everybody can get their own snacks. They can do all that kind of stuff. So, and I felt like having more variety in the people that we saw in smaller settings. That would be enjoyable. Certainly, I feel like we took on too many things, and we're looking for that filter to decide what things to take on and what things to let go of and what things to continue. And I think we'll get a sense of that as we get through our list. But
hopefully. What was one of your high fives?
So that's the other thing we do for those listening out in the audience. That once you do your low five, the other thing is to do a high five list. And that is discovering the things that you really did enjoy and seeing if there's a way to maximize that or capitalize on it or increase that. I enjoyed, we had the opportunity on occasion, even when it got to be late, to do like a couple of late night movie nights with just the 3 of us. And watch Christmas Vacation or watch A Family Man or watch Christmas Carols or whatever it was.
It was just...
And that was kind of fun.
And we were at our house.
Yes. And we could, we could introduce a lot of those things to Evangeline for the first time, so that was really fun. For the last couple of years, we've had the opportunity on the day after Christmas to leave for a couple of days. So like 2 years ago, that was like Chicago, and we have points left over from airline points.
Use up the airline points.
Yeah,
so we're like, okay.
And so we went to Chicago for like 3 days, 4 days, and that's really nice for us because there's just such a buzz up until the 25th.
Yeah.
And then we would leave on the 26th. Well, then there was no agenda. We did get some tickets to some shows and stuff, but we just walked around the city.
Yeah, and it was kind of fun. And remember
it's
that
still
we liked
Christmas
each other.
there. Yeah, and so we get to enjoy Christmas without being in charge of Christmas or anything about Christmas while we're there. And so the last couple of years we've been able to do that. That's been really, I've loved that part of it. And then as part of Dreamers, for the last several years, we've been able to do the gift packets. And that is just a tremendous amount of work, and there's probably a way to simplify some of that. We could look at that.
But we give gift packages for kids who don't, or people who don't know, for area kids in need. We do 100 for kids at 2 specific elementary schools that have a lot of low income, and so we gather that, and it's important to us to be able to do that. So it's a mix of books and games and treats.
We have lots of volunteers who help us with it. But
so we love doing that.
At some point, the way the scheduling was working, and we were dropping all the stuff off and trying to get it to the schools before the kids got out of school and all that kind of stuff. And so it was the last week before Christmas break in a couple of days, and so we had done the largest drop off, and then there was a secondary school that we were going to take like 30 packs to or something like that. And the way the scheduling worked out, I was the one to make that drop. And then for whatever reason, I think probably because of the school and I knew the needs and some of that stuff,
you felt connected to it. I think
thought,
in that moment.
That was. I
you
was
actually
thinking
saw some
this
of the
is.
kids.
You try and put yourself in that moment and think, there's some kid who's not going to get very much, or none, or little.
Yeah.
And I know what's in this pack, and I think that this is going to make a couple kids pretty happy.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool that way.
That's so cool. I love that. There was one family I was chatting with, a mom, and I thought this was really cool. Like we do an annual Christmas gathering at our house, which I enjoy doing. We always do it like right at the end when everything's finished. So it's kind of like our last.
And it's low pressure. There's no gift exchange. There's no anything.
It's just a cocktail party. People visit. But anyway, invited this one family that we've kind of gotten to know, and she goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry." She said, I really would love to. She goes, but that's our family date night.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And she said, because, December's busy for everyone. And she goes, and we just feel like it rushes through and we don't get to hang out. So they plan a night for just their family to go do stuff with each other. And I thought, that's
really
so
cool.
Sweet. And it's before Christmas. So anyway,
that's a great idea.
I think that's the concept of the whole thing is not being afraid to evaluate it honestly, and list your 5 or more things because we had, even though this year was difficult again, and we're going to have to reevaluate. After we did this, had this idea 5 or 6 years ago, it did change the way we do some things.
We made some very significant
meaningful
decisions.
Windows. So now we just have to basically shore it up again.
Well, here's the thing too. I mean, if you're listening to this or watching this, I mean, when you make a list on either side, a low five or a high five list.
Make both, right?
Absolutely. And I like finishing on the high five list because there's a lot to be grateful for.
Well, that's what you want to see.
It's a little bit like a gratitude list.
See more of the next year.
You should just know that, especially when you make a list of changes, so mostly built around low five, probably.
Yeah.
That's going to take some negotiation, and you're probably going to have to stand up to some strong personalities. But there is something to be said for doing what is healthy and right for you.
Yeah.
And then something to be said for what is healthy and right for your family. And in many cases, when something is not working at the level where you need to make a change, when you instigate that, it helps other people. It's
often a relief. You don't want to do that in the heat of the moment. You wait a few months into the year, and because Christmas will seem like a far away, and you say, Aunt Susan, I so appreciate the way you've always had us over on Christmas morning, but we would like to invite you to our house on Christmas Eve for 1 hour, and we're going to be at our own house, or whatever whatever that is. You have to broach those things before the season kicks back in.
Sometimes traditions get to be so big that you feel like you can't approach them, you can't change them, and they kind of take on this monolithic feel to them, and that's not always healthy. Sometimes it is. Sometimes going above and beyond is part of the humor and the joy of it.
Right.
But when you make a list like this, and even when these decisions are healthy, it may take. And you can do this, with some courtesy, and you do this with some kindness, but you might have to just say, hey, I'm so sorry.
We've
enjoyed this for so many years, but we're going to do something different this year.
Yeah.
And we love you.
And it's easier if you launch it around St. Patrick's Day, so people have
so they have some time.
time to adjust.
And the other thing that we have found a lot of times is if you can do some of that, and every family dynamic is different, but for us, we will do some of that stuff in a group communication.
Yeah.
Because if it gets individualistic in the communication, that's where squirrels live.
Yeah.
It gets weird and
Group
all that kind of stuff. But
good.
if you can just say to everybody at one time,
hey,
and it also helps with the communication, so you don't have to have 10 different conversations.
Yeah.
But hey, this is what is right for us right now, and we're in, and then most of the time other people will find something better for themselves to do in that process.
I think so too. Don't you think too, another thing, like I kind of felt at the end of the season, as we were kind of talking about things, and this week, I don't know, I feel a broken, like, God, what is wrong with me that it keeps happening, we've got to do this. And
I felt that way about you.
Yes. I felt that way about you. No, I think part of it is, and this isn't to let myself off the hook as we reevaluate. It's more to say this is a cultural problem.
Yes.
This
obviously.
is not. We are not just the only broken people that are worn out by December.
Right.
This is something that I think is a product of our American culture, which is bigger is better, more is more.
Yes.
Less is more is more. All those things. Like we say, we're maximalists, and that's what we do. And so we're all. It's almost like if we're on social media 24/7, or you're taking in all these things. There's unlimited, like we literally have the world's information at our fingertips via the internet. It doesn't mean we have to be on it all the time, but it's a problem culturally that we all take on. And I feel like we've got to figure out for us, and hopefully other people can be encouraged and say, this is normal.
Yeah.
This is what people are going through, but we can hopefully revise that some and get better so that we don't dread the most wonderful time of the year.
But it starts by pausing, considering, making a list, considering, and otherwise we will be back here next year. We're just going to be back here and fatigued and worn out and cussing people, and then at some point you're just going to want to quit.
Lord, I'm sorry.
Lord, I'm sorry.
Lord, I'm sorry for
Tiny
cussing
baby
everyone
Jesus,
on
I'm
Christmas.
sorry. I hate your birthday. It's not your fault, but
I had a couple funny text exchanges with a couple other. These happened to be like mom friends from school. We were doing some stuff in the teacher's lounge, and we were getting it all. And then this person actually brought some treats on the wrong day because they were so busy. Like, they've got 3 kids and they're helping at 3 schools and all this stuff. And I just was like, and I know they were embarrassed, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, don't worry about it. I said, December is stupid.
Yeah.
And she texted me back, and she was like, it's so stupid. Like, why do we do this?
Yeah.
So what's funny is she and I are actually, I said, let's get through December. I said, let's go get a coffee in January, and maybe we can help each other figure out how to not make it. But that's another idea too.
Yeah.
Is you could get together with one of your coffee buddies or a friend and say, what was hard about your holiday season?
Yeah.
How can we help each other not do this again next year?
Well, and it is difficult for so many people. That they have, you might have split families and split this and all that kind of stuff. And so instead of just doing a gathering, you've got to do 4 gatherings.
Yeah.
And so there's a place in there where you can take a stand. There's a place in there where you can make some decisions. There's I've met a lot of families from split families who live in split families who just have decided, we're not doing this. I'm not doing a separate Christmas with you, Dad, and then going over to Mom's and doing all that and dragging the kids through all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to show up to the house, we're going to do a combined thing, and this is the window we're going to do it. And I love you, but we just can't drag this out over 4 days.
Exactly.
And
the motivation of the whole thing, honest, if we get down to the root of it is a beautiful season.
Yes.
And it is full of meaning, and it has the potential, and I think it was created to be a time of renewal and hope.
Yes, absolutely.
So what can we all do? Doesn't mean excluding people from things. It's more like, what can we do to provide those windows? I didn't feel like I had time enough to think or even feel. Like, you're looking for those Christmas moments of, oh man, I'm so grateful for my life. And we had a few here and there.
But it's hard to have Christmas moments when you're so depleted. When you're so fatigued.
Your energy is so down. You want to.
And it's hard to be a Christmas moment for somebody when you are empty.
That is the truth. And the irony is, I think that's why we accept too many things and take too many things on in some ways, is we're afraid we're going to miss out on this season of meaning and hope. And then we overschedule it so much that there's no time for it.
Yes.
it's ironical, as we say. It is ironical. But we can do better. We can be better.
You know what we can also be better about is
January.
And doing
this iced coffee
podcast.
is delicious.
I'm just saying, I don't even miss alcohol.
I don't at all.
Yeah.
This is a great iced coffee. I'm going to go get some water after this. It's going to be good for me.
I feel like we covered a lot of ground there. And I don't know if it helped you, but it helped us to get through that stuff.
Maybe that's it. Maybe this is just our confessional.
Personal therapy.
That's right. Yeah, we love it.
So we love you guys. We've missed you on our vacation. We hope this helps make your list while you are still in the freshness of the pain and revelry of the holidays.
Yes.
And if you want to share your list with us, you sure can. You can email us or message us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
If you have questions or things you wish we would cover or things you wonder about and think, well, we should talk about that.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear you on that too. And I know you've already done it, but if you've thought of somebody else in the midst of all this, and you thought, this was a funny conversation, I need to share this with my sister, then hit that link button, share button, copy that link, and send this to any grouping of friends and help us to expand the Dreamers Live community. We really greatly appreciate it.
One last thing to interrupt. As you were closing, let me interrupt your closing. It occurred to me, as you and I were talking about this, that we actually love to go speak to groups, community organizations, I don't know, churches, clubs, whatever. We would love to come and just have a conversation like this with your group. Yeah. I was just thinking that this would have been an interesting group conversation. Right. If you sat a group of friends around to have this talk that we just had, and then you could make your list together.
Right.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we try to do with Dreamers, is we all try to help each other human a little bit better.
Right.
And to have connections and honest communication. So anyway, that would have been a good group chat. So let us come and do something like that for your group. We would love to.
Yeah. And I think that's pretty much all of it for now.
Yeah, but, we'll think of something else to talk about next week.
As Mr. Rogers says, yes. So, hey, thank you for watching and listening and being a part of what we do. We look forward to hearing back from you soon. And until next time.
Yes, here's to 2025.
Cheers.
Happy January, folks.
Peace out, friends.